Welcome to Prana Talk TV. This is Elitom El-amin.
And Shana Dean.
Enjoy the show.
3. Hi,
All right.
Elitom. How are you today?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
As usual.
As usual. And today
Staying
we're
in the
talking
light.
about
Staying in the light.
staying in the light.
Now, that's a real deep one because everybody used that word, light workers, stay in the light, we're beings of light, children of light. But one day I was teaching a class, and some woman did ask a real important question. She said, Elitom, what do you mean by light? L-I-T-E or L-I-G-H-T? Now, that was a real important question because sometimes when you're teaching or you're saying a vocabulary, everybody's not catching it the same way, and you think they are. Because everybody got their predetermined definitions of wording that's already in them. So they're defining it, and even though a person might not respond and you're talking to this whole group, everybody's receiving it differently based on what's already put in them. So sometimes when we tell people just maintain the light, stay in the light, they really don't know what you're talking about, a lot of people, because some people just look at it as visible light. What do invisible light mean? They don't get it. Do I stay out in the sun? Do I just only work in the daytime? And you'd be surprised how people will take your wording, and that's where the problem is at. Deception is basically dealing with the misuse of thoughts and ideas, and is dealing with definitions. And the definitions that's inside a person, whoever controls the definitions of a vocabulary has the power to control your destiny. This is very important. That's why education on every level means so much. That's why even in the scriptures, they talk about in the beginning was the word was God, the word is God. It's talking about some war on words, the wording of things. And even now, today, it seems like there's this great revolution taking place with humanity where they're challenging everything like never before. And all it's dealing with is the wording of how it was brought to them in the past compared to what it really means now and how we can change it in the future on our perceptions. That's what the ball game has always been, and it's like that now.
Yes, and it's really relevant, especially since quantum physics is proving that our spoken word and our language is affecting our DNA and changing the light photons around us. So it actually affects reality. So what do we mean when we talk about being in the light? And this is a really good topic because I've been thinking about this. Actually, it hit me pretty deeply yesterday. I was in meditation and I realized more of us need to be in our light and connecting with our own inner light. This is so important, not just in general in your life, so you can have a more relaxed, peaceful life, but if you're on the breatharian path, this is a very integral part of it. You know, the path isn't just about fasting, it's also about connecting with that inner light that you are.
Right. And I like how you said quantum physics, using that term, and it's new to humanity, quantum physics. But keep in mind that quantum physics isn't new, because that, you've got to keep in mind that modern day science come from pseudoscience. It was, the pseudosciences were already there. The ancients was already talking about everything's already connected. Everything is alive. Everything is mental. Everything is vibration. Those are hermetic laws of over thousands of years ago. So they're just, so that's why when you do look at things like Isaac Newton and all the rest of them, and they'll say they was part of some secret society and they came up with this, well, I can understand that now. They were just dealing with basic hermetic laws and stuff like that, whatever you want to call them, in schools of thought. They were already there. So that's what got them to make greater inventions. This made them seem like they were geniuses compared to everybody else. But now, since we're in this age of information, it's like it's an equal playing field where it's out there to everybody. But I want people to understand what we're saying, staying in the light, going into your inner light. What does that mean? That's what we're basically saying. And there is some things where you deal with the hermetic laws, they're not hidden anymore, that you really have to, we can say it, But now you have to make those words and meditate on them and start working with them so they can become part of you. So you can actually see it working in your life, changing your perception, changing your mind, because that's what this is all about, changing your perception, changing your mind.
Yeah, and changing the way you feel. And I love the word light because it means light as in weight, right? Something that feels light. And it's also light as in bright. And I love that because the more you connect into that lightness and feeling lighter, less heavy, and also brighter, that's exactly what this path is all about. That's the pranic path. And that's the path, whether you want to be a breatharian or not, that's appealing to a lot of people because you want to live a lighter, brighter life in general.
Absolutely. So now we're talking about this mental transformation. That's what it deals with. So even when you look at the Bible, you got the Old Testament and the New Testament. But when you look at that word testament, ment always means mental. It's dealing with a mind, just like governmental. You know, what's governing your mind? So you got an Old Testament, an old mind, an old body. Testi meaning body, and ment means the mental. And then you got the New Testament. There should be a transformation coming into a new body and a new mind. Because keep in mind, if you're out for a new mind, staying in your light, there's going to be a physical change taking place also. See, this goes hand in hand. So the knowledge and the information, whether if you are in a Christian terminology, the Muslim terminology, the Hindu terminology, it ain't so much of the religions, but they all had a system dealing with the zodiacal signs, the different numerologies that's designed to change the mind dealing with on higher esoteric circles so that you can think differently. And those are the people who usually have the edge. So again, about staying in your light, there's some things I want to bring up that really helped me, especially dealing on a pranic journey. And one of them was, because there's a term that I use a lot called being God. And not only I'm God, everybody else is God. And some people look at it as being arrogant, but it's basically confidence in yourself. And I did a statement today that it's easier to believe in a God than to believe in yourself, because I meet so many people with what we call a low self-esteem. A low self-esteem will really wreck your life because you don't believe in yourself. You don't know the power that you have. You don't know how to affect things. So therefore, you cannot make a transformation because you already lost by not believing in yourself.
Yeah, it's limited thinking. It's not believing in the potential of what you can be.
Right. And right there, that is a big thing that took place on humanity. And it's understandable because in the spiritual circles, you are not allowed to, well, let's say that term, brag on yourself, don't tell your accomplishments. You didn't do it, but God did it. You're not supposed to give yourself no credit. But there is times that it does feel good to know that your accomplishments, what you've done. You know what I mean? Not to brag about it, but just tell what you've done. When I was in the Navy, they had a real good thing that I really loved. Every time you go up for an evaluation, of course, people going to evaluate you on how your performance been over the last 6 months. So you could go up for the next rank. But they'll give you a chance also because these are other people judging you on how they think your behavior is. But you got to keep in mind that these people who's judging you are not around you all the time. They're only going off of their thought of you. So you got a chance to do a write-up on yourself, and it's called the brag report. This is very key. And there'll be things like, you could play anything you think you've been doing over the last 6 months that you know you've been doing for yourself to better yourself. It could be that I go to the gym now 3 times a week. I started going to church or whatever. I started playing volleyball for a volleyball team. Stuff like that actually helped your evaluation because those were positive things that you've been doing in your life for the last 6 months that helps you for your next rank. And it's called your own little brag report. It could be something that I took over somebody else's duty. I volunteered for this. Because those are things that other people don't see that you're doing in your life, because we're all doing something. And it's called your own personal brag report, and it always helped out. So I usually tell people too that, yeah, take a time out quarterly or whatever. Even when you're dealing with your meditations, you're dealing with your diet change, start logging it down so you can look back and see what you've been doing with yourself, because we easily forget when you don't log it down, and everybody else don't know what you're doing.
Right.
That's the thing about it.
Yeah. And I think that an important point is also with the brag report, I think that's really fun, acknowledging your accomplishments, but also with a sense of humility, right? Because I think that's also key, is not being, oh, I've done all this, I'm better than you. No, it's not, that's not what we're saying at all. Hold that humility, know that, source, God, or the light is working within you, and you are doing what you need to do to connect with that. And you are recognizing that you are also a creator in your life.
Right.
I think this is really important. So you're not giving your power away to, oh, well, I guess this happened because it's meant to be, or it's another lesson I have to learn, that kind of a thing. It's, wait a minute, pay attention to how you're creating your environment, but do so with a sense of humility at the same time. So it's a beautiful balance there.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the second phase, that I was ready to say. And that's taking 100% responsibility of your life.
Yes.
Because not only we did that brag report, if the people did bring up something that you did that was negative during that time period, you have to chalk that up too. You're just trying to balance it out, because it does balance itself out. There wasn't no coincidence. You took part in it. And even on things that, say, for instance, somebody did something to you and you were the victim, you still created, look what I did. I created myself being a victim. That still is relieving to know that you've done that. That really helps you with your life. You're creating everything, taking responsibility. And what that does is it does make you into a stronger person. You start being more mindful of your thought process. And that's what we're going to get into next.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's empowering,
It's empowering
to move from the victim into saying, hey, I created this. Even if it's a mess, I created this, which means I can create my way out of it.
Right. Because one of the number one things dealing with those hermetic laws or the different schools of thought is, and I know you probably heard this, everything is mental. Everything is all. So going back to quantum physics, it ain't like they just made something else new. They got that from the hermetic laws. They just did the math, to prove it and stuff like this. Because even when you're dealing with quantum physics, and I hate to say this, let's say string theory, it's out there, but nobody really got the math for it because it's hard to. But even though they don't got the math for that, the string theory is still there because it exists. And because you could get one atom over here and the atom over here simultaneously reacting each other. So that kind of broke the mold of the old mechanics of how physics used to be. So that's why I went to a whole nother ball game. But anyway, they've been talking about this. Everything is mental. Everything is consciousness. So that's going back to our mind again. This is very key to pick you up when we say stand in the light. If you cause the mess in your life and everything is mental, and our mental thinking is hooked up to the invisible forces. I once told somebody, if they look at physical reality as being dense and that's all you see, your life is a nightmare. You got to understand, and they're even saying this, and the ancients been saying this, this is an illusion we're living in. And the reason why, because there's another law saying everything vibrates, and that's proven in science now. Everything is moving. Nothing is still.
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy. So you can have a day that went a certain way one day. The next day, it's going to have a change to it. All you need to do is sit back because everything is moving. So when you get the one law together about taking full responsibility, ding, for your thoughts. Number two, everything is mental. So your mind is connected with everything. It's making things happen. It's generating something. Ding, that's number 2. And then number 3, everything is vibrating. Everything is moving. Everything is energy. Everything is frequency. And last but not least, what is the third one? Everything is vibration. So those right there, those keys, that's what we mean by staying in the light.
Yeah. And that's why your vibration is so important. And I know right now a lot of people are talking about keeping your vibe high, you know, staying high frequency. What does that mean? Right?
Right.
So that's important. It's not just, oh, putting a smile on your face and pretending like everything's okay. It's actually paying attention to the frequency and your vibration of the energy of your thoughts and your emotions that you're emitting. That's a high vibration.
And you remember you did that interview with Nicholas from Italy? He said something real key about the connection about what he put into his body dealing with our consciousness.
Right.
That right there is key. So if everything is vibrating, all physical matter is moving, is, you know, and there's some foods you can eat that are denser. So immediately it changed your vibration no matter what you put in. And I was just dealing with a person today where they've been eating foods less, and also things that were more on a liquid level than it was more dense a week ago. And as we were meditating, they felt how the energy was moving in their body now, and it felt a lot better. And I had to point out to them, your vibration changed. And now they understood finally what I meant. See, that's what you said a key word too. It's more than just a thought. It's a feeling state that goes along with it. So once they felt that new feeling that took place on the actions that took place, now they understood their vibration changed. They were happier. Their mental thinking changed. And their life was going a certain way where they felt proud on taking full responsibility of what was going on. They just crossed over, in other words. Everything was going smoothly because the energy was running smoothly through the vehicle. See how it all goes together?
Yeah.
So this is what we mean by staying in the light.
And food plays such a huge role. If any of you have ever gone from eating cooked foods to just simply shifting over to a raw food diet, and all of a sudden you notice, like in about a week or two, you start getting intuitive hits, or you become more psychic, or you just know things, or you have a more keen, wild, innate sense of things, that's you moving into the light. And as you fast, that's even heightened, you know, and the food and lightening up your diet just plays into this so well. And it's so easy, or easier, to actually maintain, like you said, a higher state of happiness and bliss, which is also high vibe. So the whole thing goes hand in hand and carries you up.
Absolutely. And see, and this is what it deals with. Those things that we're talking about right now, dealing with everything is mental. I'm just going on those ones right there. Everything is vibration or energy. Everything has polarity. I could go on and on. There's 7 major universal laws, but there's 3 of them that will always be the same. They don't change. The other ones you can transcend, but those main ones that we just was talking about, those ones are imprinted in the universe. They don't change, which is a good thing. Because whenever you find yourself needing an answer, whenever you find yourself so-called getting stuck, you know, everything is vibrating, your mind is connected with everything, the consciousness is so powerful, it will give you the answer, give you the means on how to correct it and get out of it. This one makes it good. And just like you can lower your vibration, you can raise your vibration, because every day is different. Now that's good to know, because that shows you can regenerate and better your health. That's a frequency and a vibration. That's denseness. That's energy blockages. This is making sense now, right?
Yeah, and as you become healthier, your vibration actually rises.
There we go.
That's
why people can't catch this. When I talk about the breatharian journey, eating very little or none at all, it's a health message of a vibration. That's what it is. And they're like, what do you mean? And they just focus on the food part. Raise your vibration, and just by its nature, you will get healthier. And that's the indication that you have a lighter and brighter countenance on you. Your vibration is raised.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. And I love how this kind of wraps around and feeds upon itself, because one nice way of hooking into the light and hooking into the pranic path is by meditating and connecting with your light.
Right.
I know a lot of people try to focus on the fasting and the food. Well, the more you focus on the food, the more you're probably going to want the food.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice idea to focus on the light, focus on the inner light that's inside of you. And that could be referred to as your inner God self or your own divinity, your own spirit, whatever that is for you, whatever you want to call it, source energy, right? The lightness within you. Focusing on that in meditation, taking the attention and the focus away from the food part of it, that there is the foundation.
Absolutely. And let me show you how powerful this is. I got a real good friend over here. He came to me one morning, and this is what he said. This is why this goes way beyond food. See, every experience or trauma that you had in your past might still be in your energy center in your body, the vibration. But remember what we said, everything vibrates, it don't stay the same. So what people are doing, you keep holding it in there and you don't have to. So he said he was in the bed and a lot of childhood memories came up when he was in school, fights he'd been in and all this other stuff, dealing with different people. And he's got a piece of paper and start writing down the names and start forgiving himself and forgiving the people he got into it. This happened way in childhood. He probably don't know where the people at now. It didn't matter. But he said after it was over, he felt so relieved. He felt lighter. This is what we mean by deeper level energy work, clearing up blockages in your past so more light can get into your body. This is what we mean by staying in the light. This is what Buddha was talking about when he was under the Bodhi tree. Past memories was coming up. This is the pranic journey again. We got to go there if you want to be a clean, fit, and healthy vessel.
Absolutely. And people ask, well, how do I know what traumas need to release, or how do I go in and find it? And the fact is, when you're on this path, it will come up.
Right.
You will see it. You don't have to look very hard. All of a sudden you get the idea or you start moving through something and you'll see it. It'll be there for you to work through. And it's easier to work through it when you're already in that place of light, when you're already connecting with that light, when you're already in meditation, when you're already eating lighter. It makes the process much more easy to work through.
Right. And the reason why they come up, you know why? Because it's the universal laws. When your vibrations start rising, the heavier vibrations that's in you can't hold on any longer. So they will come up so you can deal with them and get rid of them to keep going. Or you can make the choice, what most people do, and I don't want to say most people, what some people do, is they'll grab that vibration again and want to hold on to it for whatever reason. But what we're saying now in this day and age now, you don't have to. It is not you. All it was an energy. It was an experience because everything is energetic. So when you're going back into the light that's in you, it is so powerful, your higher self. The only thing that's blocking us from our higher self is ourselves.
Right. And it's our vibration. It's where we are. So the more we're in that place of lightness, we identify with what's coming up less. So you want to hang on to it less. So if you are hanging on to stuff and you're not ready to let it go, it just means you haven't quite, risen above it yet, but you will. Because it will hit a point where your vibration is so different than this old stuff that when it comes up, you recognize it as something outside of yourself. You don't identify so much with it. So it's easier to kind of process and let it go.
Absolutely. And as we talk about these things, like I said, it's more than just words. Everything we said, if you have to write them down, start just thinking about it more and watching it and start incorporating it into your life, these universal laws. Because they are laws. They're already in the fabric of our mind and also the universe around us. They do work. See, man makes rules. That's why rules always change. Nature makes laws.
Right.
That's two different things.
And this is all a concept, right? We can wrap our minds around this, but you're not going to actually really get it until you put it into practice, because it's very experiential. It's the same thing when I teach Reiki. I could tell you how to send Reiki all day long, but until you actually do it, or until you actually feel what it's like to receive a Reiki treatment, you have no idea. Right? So it's the same thing along this path until you start really getting into those deeper meditations, and you can do this in silence or in a guided meditation, whatever that is, or until you start really lightening up your diet and doing those two things in conjunction and starting to be more mindful about your mindset. You know, am I happy today? Am I grateful today? Am I holding on to fear? Like, where is my mind? Where's my frequency in terms of my thinking and what I'm feeling and putting out there? When you start on this path, and it's a very holistic path, right? Because it covers everything, food to exercise to what your thoughts are. When you're on this path, it's easier to feel what we're talking about. So if you don't know what we're talking about, just start taking some steps in this direction and you'll start seeing it in your own life. It's really amazing. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. And you will love this journey.
Oh,
like here I am in India, and I went on a good walk today. And of course, we had our masks on and everything. Everybody's walking around. But everywhere I go, I was waving and people was waving back, because I know my vibration is high. I know how I feel. And people can pick that up in you also, so they're doing the same things. So this is awesome when you're on this journey and you want to keep maintaining this vibration. You don't want to go back to that last one. You know the difference now. That's why this is called self-realization. I can tell you my testimony. Shana could tell you hers, and other people's could tell you theirs. But when you start doing these things, you will know for yourself without a shadow of a doubt. Now you got the tools to raise your vibration and maintain it, and you'll see the difference. And that's the feeling state is going to win out over the old one. The old one won't serve you no more.
That's right.
It feels right.
Yeah, and you will maintain it, because there is no going back. You know, once you have this higher knowledge and this higher sense of yourself and everything, you can't go back.
You can't go back.
Even if you ate a bunch of food and you didn't feel connected anymore, it's still there. So as soon as you lighten up the diet, you're just hooked right in again. So
right. Now listen how you just said that. At my retreats, I tell people how powerful it is to know how to heal yourself. When you learn how to heal yourself, that is a powerful, powerful thing. But there's something even more powerful than that. Even if you made yourself sick, say you had a weekend where you ate too much cake, that could happen. You were hanging out with grandma. It's a powerful thing to know how you felt that way, and you know how to get out of it to heal yourself again. That's the power behind it. You ain't got to blame other people. You ain't got to, you know what happened. You know what your actions were. So you ate a bunch of food that weekend, your stomach is hurting. I was just telling somebody my last meal in 2017, how I felt. It felt good going down. I was eating all these chips and everything, but that night I was like, oh.
And it's really important too, not to beat yourself up when you do that, right?
Exactly.
So what we were talking about earlier about having, you know, have the brag report and feel good about yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So don't beat up on yourself if you do something like that and you're not feeling great, you know.
Right.
Still know you have that light. You're still beautiful, wonderful.
Right. And this is the good thing about it. Once you really master the breatharian knowledge, because it's a skill. Now listen at this. That's why we say it's to eat very little or none at all. What that means is, let's go back to the universal laws. All physical matter, whether if you see it or not, vibrates. Everything is vibrating, even your physical body. So if your physical body gets dense, it's still vibrating, it's just going slower. But it's going to keep on vibrating, getting rid of that stuff, and it's automatically by its nature will heal itself. That's why fasting is so powerful. And it will go to a vibration where it's going to rise back up on its own without your help, because it's always moving.
Yeah. The less we have in us, right, in our minds, right, is why it's nice to meditate, kind of clear the mind, clear the stomach. The less we have in us, the more we can move into our natural state of being. And our natural state of being is more closely connected with our higher super consciousness.
Right.
That is what we refer to as the light.
Absolutely. And on this path, the ball game is changing itself around. There was a time it seemed like we had that mentality, everybody's going to get sick sometime and la, la, la. It's not like that now. It takes a lot to get sick because the body's always seeking to be healthy by its own, just by vibrating. You're waking up to this. Now it's harder. Once you come into this knowledge, it's harder to get sick and stay sick. Did I say that?
Yeah, well, and you also realize how much the sickness starts up here. You can talk yourself into being sick, or you can just give in to being sick. You can start not feeling good and say, oh, I'm getting sick, and then boom, you're sick. Or you can say, oh, no, I'm not going to use my body this way. I'm not going to get sick. How many of you out there have ever said no to being sick, right? Like you've got too much going on in your life and you're like, you start feeling under the weather and you're like, no, I'm not getting sick right now. I don't have time for it. And boom, you don't.
I don't have time.
Right?
I'm glad you brought that up. One time I was in the Navy and I decided to sneak home to go see my mother. They don't know I'm coming. So when I get there, she's in a hospital feeling sick. She got the thermometer coming out of her mouth back then and blah, 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 blah. So I went to the hospital to see her. She's like, you're here? And I said, yeah. About the time the next day came around, she was coming home. All of a sudden her temperature dropped. All of this stuff. She made herself unsick because I was home. That's how powerful.
That's the power we all have.
Yep.
Yes.
Before she was getting that pity party being there. So people do make themselves sick for attention. There's different reasons. This is how powerful we are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got new hopes and want to really do something, all of that stuff will drop just because. That's why nocebo or a placebo is one of your most powerful pills around. It's a mental thing. Remember we said everything is mental? That is a universal law.
Right.
These are laws we're dealing with, made by nature, not men.
Right. And I'm sure people are familiar with times you just don't have that much energy and you feel tired. And then all of a sudden someone like shows up in your life or something happens and you're like, oh, I want to do that. And all of a sudden you're flooded with energy and you're not tired anymore.
Right.
Right? It's the same thing.
Same thing. Matter of fact, me and a friend of mine.
That's a flush of prana right there, you know?
Yep. Me and a friend of mine laughed so hard in Israel. You know, she's an older female, like, you know, in her 60s, you know, look good. But she was sitting there talking about how her body was hurting. But then she wants to be in this relationship. So the more she started talking about this relationship she want to be in, all of a sudden she was stretching and had all this energy. I said, I thought your body was hurting. Just off of the shift of a mind.
That's right.
Everything changed.
And, you know, Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about this when he talks about, you know, when you're in love, your cells are being flooded with a certain kind of chemistry. And when you're sick, your cells are being flooded with another kind of chemistry. So it's two different chemistries that are happening in our mind. I mean, in our bodies based on our mind.
All right.
Right.
So that's why, too, another good thing to get used to when we say stand in the light is being grateful.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to have things to make you grateful. Just by waking up, be grateful to wake up. Grateful for the stuff you already have. Grateful for the body that you're in. See, sometimes, you know, and I met a lot of people, again, with low self-esteem, and in my mind, they're looking good, but for whoever said something to them, whatever, they probably don't like their physical makeup. But sometimes, as years go past and they look back on that moment, or if they had a picture of it, I did look good back then. Why didn't I take advantage of that? But see, if you get in a grateful attitude now, there's a thing said, use it before you lose it. You know what I mean? Really take advantage of who you are now and start being grateful for it, no matter what condition you're in, you're here.
Right. And try to do things that make you really happy. Because we were talking about how you can make yourself sick. Sometimes people get sick because they're just not that happy in their life, or they feel like they actually need a break, you know, from work or something stressful, and they'll get sick just so they can have that downtime, right? You may not be conscious that that's what's happening, but that's probably what's happening. So doing things
Right.
every day that make you happy, that's really important. And start to think about what kind of a life, because right now this is the reset time, right? We're all in our shelter in and we're all kind of reevaluating our lives a little bit. What kind of a life do you want to have? What is going to bring you the max amount of happiness that makes you feel like you just want to jump out of bed every day and feel excited?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what it's all about again, being happy. So that gratefulness, happy is a byproduct of being grateful. They go hand in hand because the gratefulness is basically saying the universe is pouring things on you and you're recognizing it. You're aware of it.
Yes.
And there's a thank you that comes in you that you appreciate it so much you do more. You want to do something back to show your appreciation. So when you're around a person that's grateful, they'll do things for you just because they know that they're being showered, you're being showered, and they're just saying thank you. So it's good to be around a grateful person. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. And that gratitude and that happiness pulls you in closer to the light, which means pulls you
Absolutely.
in closer to your higher consciousness, where you're now aware that you are the one creating all the beauty and all the miracles in your life. It's not just happening to you, it's happening from you.
Absolutely. This is awesome. And I like how you said it's happening from you because there's a good term that they say in the esoteric. They use that word God, G-O-D, and they say generator is the mind because your mind is generating light, is generating fire, and is generating electricity. Your brain does not store energy, but it does generate it. It's bringing off this generation. So that's why you want to be mindful of your thoughts. Your thoughts is that powerful. It's constantly generating all of this power. Then you got the O for operator. Your spinal cord that's going through your body is operating all of this light, all of this fire, all of this power coming through the body. You are a powerful being. But then they use that word, and I looked at it at first. Why would they use destroyer? Couldn't they use something else, for the D? Until I found out what they was talking about. There's an energy that's in our hip area, what they call a kundalini. And kundalini is two words. Kunda means cord, and lini means line. There's these lines or these cords that's coming up the spinal cord. There's a powerful energy that's coming upwards, and it's destroying blockages. It's always doing it to clean you all the time because heat love to rise upwards. So that's why your body it's a given for it to heal itself when you get out of your way, because there's an energy that's coming up. That's why they call Shiva the destroyer and stuff. It's destroying all of those blockages so you can be healthy. Because keep in mind, we're creators, remember? Not only you're creating stuff, don't be scared of that word. You're also tearing down stuff to build the new. Tearing down to build the new. That's the polarity of the universe.
Yeah, you're letting go of that which no longer serves you. And if it's not serving you, it's not serving anyone else.
Absolutely, that's for sure.
Yeah, the more you step into the light, the more you help others to do the same.
So when those three energies come online, the generator, the operator, and the destroyer, all at once is in you working with that light, that's when you're considered that God, God. However you want to take it, you're staying in the light. You understand now. And this is the good thing about it, like in modern day fitness. They say we all got this electromagnetic field. Electro means electricity. Magnet deals with the magnetism. Everybody has it. But it's your responsibility to keep it open, to keep it full. So that's the great work right there. Your whole job in life is just to what? Clear blockages. Notice when the blockages is there and keep your energy field at a high vibration.
Yeah, perfect. So we've talked about meditation. We've talked about eating lighter. We've talked about what kind of thoughts you're holding in your mind, the gratitude, the happiness, all of that. Let's talk a little bit about exercise. And I'm bringing this up because somebody in our last video dropped a question. And I like to answer people's questions. And they wanted to know, why would we suggest Qigong or yoga over something like running, for example? That was the question. And so I'd love to speak a little bit about that.
Oh, Well, see, Qigong and yoga, when I look at those, now keep in mind that even when you deal with yoga, the asana or the stretching part, people don't understand that is the exercise part. That's the part you go into before you meditate. So people got to learn that when you're sitting there, because you're stretching to open up the channel so the energy can go a lot more smooth. That's if you want to go that route. Now, when we said exercising, I don't know where they get that from. We didn't pick those specific ones. I mean, some people prefer running, some people prefer walking. We could have used those words, but I put Qigong and yoga in a meditative category besides exercise. That's how I do it. Because some people will say a lot to me, how can I still maintain muscle if I'm not eating? And I say, because I exercise. Now, I don't lift weights or nothing. Today, like I went out and I did a total of 200 push-ups today. Now, just by doing that resistance,
Good job.
Right. But just by doing that resistance, will build the muscle in your chest, will build the muscle in your shoulders, will build the muscle in your arms. That's how you do it. And any person who builds muscle, that's the science. That's through repetition. You just don't do it once a week. You at least got to do it consistently to break the muscle down so it can strengthen itself and repair itself. And then you can take on more resistance later. So that's what we're talking about, the exercise. And I learned this when I was in Israel by somebody who just came out of nowhere. Muscle stores energy.
That's it.
Remember when I said your brain, it uses the most energy in your body, but it don't have nowhere to store it. So you're figuring out ways to store it within the body, just like a camel got his humps. So you can have that energy available when you need it. That's why a lot of people is dealing with obesity. See, we are light beings, and you do store energy by your nature. So there's some people that will pack on a lot of fat because you're consuming so much that the body starts storing it for what it needs it. It ain't doing nothing bad. It's storing it. So the body's a good store of energy in different places, but it's how you're going to store it now. This is what we're talking about. You either go to store it for overeating, what we call a lot of fat going to be there, which is going to be negative in the long run, or you can start taking that and start toning the body. Get the blood circulating, build more lean muscle to store the energy, and that's going to serve you better in the long run. You could go one or the other.
And you have to remember that when you're storing fat, that's storing energy on a physical level. So what we're talking about is storing energy on an energetic level, where we're just talking about prana. And like you mentioned, that building muscle also increases energy. So there's a reason why almost everybody who's on the pranic path will say, yes, exercise is a very important part, because the more you get your energy flowing and the more muscle you have and the more fit you are, you're a better conduit for energy, and you're able to have more energy. It builds more prana in the body the more you exercise and move your body. So whether you choose to do yoga or you choose to go for a run, it doesn't matter. Choose whatever exercise you love, because that's the exercise you will do. Yoga and Qigong, like you were saying, that was designed, asanas were designed so you could sit in meditation longer. So if you want to do yoga and then go into your meditation practice, that's beautiful. And then if you want to also later in the day go for a run, do that. You're going to build a lot of prana in the body by doing that.
Oh, absolutely. And see, like you said, the key word is do the thing to make you happy. See, me, and I got to say it, I don't like running. Now, my son likes running. I don't like running. Now, I love walking. That's me. So know thyself. Know the things that you love. Because just because somebody else loves something don't mean that you got to love it. You understand? But my son, again, he loves running. He does marathons and everything. That's him.
Yeah, everybody has their own thing. Like, I love hiking in the forest. My favorite thing ever. Being in nature, uneven ground, trees, rocks, the whole thing. I love it. So that's my favorite.
So that's how you pick your exercises, on the thing that you love, because when you love it, you'll stick with it. Now, of course, like, see, this is where you know you're pushing it. Now, of course, I can run a marathon if I trained for it, if somebody paid me enough. That's what it boils down to, all right? But I'm not going to volunteer to do it, okay? And after I get the money, after I did it, it won't happen again, all right? That's it. So that's when we know when you don't like something, when you got to force yourself to do it, there got to be some bigger motivation. But when something don't need to even motivate you, that's a whole nother ball game. Walking, I can do that like tomorrow. Biking, I love that. People know that, but the running,
And that's why when I give people a Pranic checklist during our retreats, there's a whole lot of things on that checklist. And the thing is do whatever resonates with you. Do whatever you like. You know, you don't have to do everything just because it's on the list. So it's really important to do what you love. And with everything in your life, not just exercise, but everything in your life. So pay attention when you're doing certain activities in your life, what drains your energy and what
have their thing again.
feeds your energy. Yeah.
And see, what's the good thing is, it's like, let's take the year, for instance, and they do got a thing called the zodiac. Now, it ain't about if you believe it or not. It's just saying that the stars is positioned a certain way, so it put a certain character on a person. So people do got different characters. Everybody's not the same. So that's why it says, know thyself. Know the patterns that you're under. Notice the things that you like. And notice that the talents that you have and start highlighting. That's what makes the journey fun. And it really is a lot of fun. That's why this whole journey is basically energy conservation. The more energy you have, the more harmonized you are, the more happier you are, the more you could do those gifts that you already, that's instilled in you, you can have a good time. We all want a better life.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. So watch the fuel you put into your body, or go to get the highest level fuel as possible. I like how Jazz Moheen said on a level that you're either going to treat your body like a Porsche and put some good gas in it, or you're going to treat it like a jalopy and just put the cheapest gas you can in it. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
I do treat my body like a hybrid and fuel it with electricity, with energy only.
Right. That's what we're doing. Good, clean energy, cleaner energy source. Just user-friendly for the environment, all this good stuff. So that's what we're talking about, energy conservation. And in this age we're in now, dealing with information, that's the good thing about it. We got more different ways on how to fuel vehicles and machinery. Right now, we could, run it off of water, biofuels. We could run it off of nuclear power, solar power, electricity. So many different ways on how to run machinery. And our bodies are biomachines. It is not no different. You choose on how you want to run your vehicle. You choose. This is awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And I love this lifestyle because it is so holistic. You know, I had a friend of mine, one of our participants in our last retreat, she said that this gives a whole, the pranic path gives a whole new meaning to the term light worker.
Yes, it does.
It's a whole new meaning. It's so much deeper.
So much deeper. And then I had to tell people too, because I don't think they really are thinking of what they're saying. Some woman called me one time and said, well, I want to learn off of you because there's some guy that's here. Now she's way in Israel. And he drinks water though. And I looked at her basically and said, wait a minute. So you got a guy and all he drinks water. Do you know how powerful? You should be learning from him right now, and he live right by you. Sometimes we got to think about, we're not paying attention to what we're thinking about. Water draws light to it. Water don't have no calories in it. Just getting your body to that fuel source is powerful.
That is powerful. So yeah, so going back to the light, right? So the more water you drink, the more light you bring into your body. And if you are eating denser foods, moving into a raw food diet or moving into doing juices, that's bringing more light into the body. And I think that's why that connects you to your higher self and to your more natural psychic abilities, because there's more lightness. And that's really important because, Dr. Emoto says, looking at the molecules of water, when you program it with a word like love versus a word like hate, Well, if you're thinking of that in terms of your body, and your body is made of what, like 80% water, do you want to be telling yourself that you love yourself and that you are the light? Or do you want to be telling yourself, oh, I'm not good enough? Going back to what we were talking about at the very beginning of this video, right? So
Right.
what you say about yourself and how you feel about yourself actually really does program yourself, not just on a cellular level, but using the water in your body on a molecular level.
Oh, absolutely. And this is so powerful again. And we ain't even get into the other components of our body. We are light beings. Like you said, that woman said, this brings light worker a whole nother meaning. We got so much going for us dealing with the different components in our body, from the breath we're breathing. Our eyes is seeing light. That's all we see. We're chanting just by talking. There's a vibration going through the body. There's so much going on that we're not even paying attention to it. Or the energy that's broadcasted from us and how our bodies absorb the energy without us even thinking about it. This is what it does. It was born into this realm.
Right.
It was born into radiation.
Right. Born into the light. You're from the light and you're born into the light. And the more you're on this journey, the more you meditate and lighten up your diet, the more you actually see this and experience this for yourself. So if you haven't experienced this, it's just conjecture at this point. It's just an idea. But you will start to feel it and believe it, because this is the reality and you will experience it. And that's important, because once you start experiencing it, it's going to draw you to want to do it more and more and more. So I really do want to encourage everyone to start a meditation practice, because this is really the foundation. It really is. You know, there's a lot of, let's say right now, there's some fears and things like that out there, or if you're having your own inner struggle with whatever it is, the more you meditate and you connect with your light, the more you realize nothing else really matters. Nothing else is real. What's real is your light. It's what's inside you. It's your higher consciousness. It's your divine self. And that is the foundation of you moving into lighter and lighter and lighter states of being that allow you to naturally let the food go. You can't force yourself to let the food go, but the more you meditate, it naturally falls away. And that's what you want, that beautiful, slow, gentle, effortless release.
Absolutely. You said it just right. Dealing with that, one more law I want to throw into it. It's a universal law, and they call it the law of correspondence. And what that is saying is, when you look at the physical, and we look at the mental, and we look at the spiritual, they're all one. They're just vibrating differently. So the more you can meditate on that, and like we said earlier, all I see is light. As I'm looking at Shana right here and we're talking, I'm looking at a light being, hands down. She don't need to tell me. When I see a dog, or I see that's all I see is light. So the more you on that, and on how you seeing things. So just like when we use that word spirit, we just think of something that's invisible, or something that's mental, it's invisible. On one level it is, you can't see it with your physical eyes, but you do see it. Because dealing with the law of correspondence, all of them are the same light, they're just propagating differently, or how the vibration is going. So I'm looking at a mental being, I'm looking at a spirit. And this is something to meditate on. And you'd be surprised when you meditate on that over and over again, how it starts changing the way you're looking at life. So as I was walking today, I was just looking at a bunch of spirit. That's where I was. Around.
Yeah. When you can start seeing the divine in every single person that you meet, and realizing that you are every single person that you meet. That's important, is recognizing yourself in everyone, recognizing that divine being in everyone, recognizing the light in everyone.
Right. And see, I've been on this path for quite a while, so there's times you'll see me say, I live in a breatharian world. Now, the reason I'm looking at the world like that, my thought have changed that that's what I see. Everything around me is nourishing me. I'm sitting in energy right now. There's no meditation need to go on. I'm sitting here right now. There's fluid going up and down my spinal cord. I'm not even thinking about it. There's blood flow going from my feet all the way over my body. It's on automatic pilot. This is where we at now. But this took years to understand this and just let the body work.
Yes,
There
and
is no
never
time.
underestimate how powerful your energy is. So even though Elitom and I are in two very different countries right now, I have been feeling your energy all day, even before we started this talk. Remember, I wrote to you, I don't know, about 8 hours ago, and I said, wow, your energy feels really great right now.
Right.
Let's do a talk, you know? So
Right.
I'm
And I was
feeling
like,
it.
let's do it.
Let's do it. So, you know, you may not be aware of the feeling, but the more tuned in you are to your own light and the clearer you are, the more you will start noticing the subtle energies of the light and the energies around you, from the people to the places to everything around you. And it starts really influencing you, and you start really influencing it, and you start realizing that it's really all one. It's all one field of energy. You know, we're all just kind of flowing together.
Absolutely. This is awesome. And always keep in mind the universe is user-friendly. Everything is here to help us. And there really isn't a force that's punishing people. We got to get that out of our mind. All we're doing is learning, and we're growing. That's all we're doing.
That's old paradigm thinking. That's all. We are the creators. We are being influenced, and we can influence. So remember that. So if you ever doubt your light, because sometimes it might be easier to see in someone else, but look for it within, because you really have it within. You really are a light being. And this is one reason why I really advocate starting with the meditation, because the more you can do that, the more you start really identifying with that. And that is a place of power. But it's also a place of humility, right? So it's not about power over, it's about being humble, but knowing, wow, I am this spark of the light. I am the spark of God, and I can create anything that I want.
I can do it. This is awesome. Oh man, this has been good. I hope y'all got a lot out of this here.
What
I mean, it was just like
talk. Yeah.
We're riding a wave, boy.
And as we've been talking, the rainbow, I don't know if you can see, but I have a little crystal in my window here, and all the little dots you see behind me are all like rainbow lights. All the rainbows have come out.
Oh my gosh.
The sun's hitting it just right.
Now this is powerful here. She's 12 hours behind me. So here it's like at night, there is in the day starting out. But notice how we're under the same sun is doing this rotation on the other side of the world. And we got this good communication when we're talking. And you're about to enjoy the sun. Now it's like we're playing volleyball. And then you'll hit it back to me 12 hours later.
That's right. It never stops.
Right. And we're both having fun. This is awesome. And I love this once again.
Yeah.
But this is what it's all about again. And even how we're doing this video, we're talking to people who's ever watching this video, no matter where you at in the world. This is an age where we are bringing this information in some words, but it's meaning so much that you can grow from this. Listen to it over and over again. Get it into your thought where that energy start coming off of your body. Like we said, we got some great speakers nowadays who's telling us about the repetition on what we're listening to reprogram in our mind, how to reprogram our subconscious mind. This stuff does work. This is what it's all about.
I love that. Listen to this over and over again until you become it and put it into practice. I want you each to experience this for yourself, how beautiful and amazing and empowering this is. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it was funny, I did a video not too long ago, just a couple of days ago, dealing with a clapping meditation. So a lot of people gave good, responses on it, talking about the video. Then one person says, "Do you think this guy is faking it?" And then I came back and said, "Wait a minute, I just walked you through the video. Did you feel your vibration go up? I just gave you the tools. I'm not just doing it for my health. I love doing this. This is what I live for. This is what I do. I just didn't get on and say, let me just do a clapping video today."
Well, the thing is, if you have to question it, it means you just haven't put it into practice yet. So if you try it, see for yourself if it works. If it's not something that you resonate with, then don't do it, right? But
Absolutely.
if it does work for you and it does resonate with you, then do it. So these are just all tools that we share, and pick up what you like and what you don't, leave behind.
Yeah. But I kind of like the person too. They were a good old soul on how I put it. So they said, yeah, you're right. This ain't got nothing to do with faking it or not. Like you said, either do it or don't do it. Do it later or try it or just look at it.
Yeah.
Just observe. It's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It is. Wow. Well, thank you all so much for being with us today. What a beautiful, wonderful talk. I love this.
Oh man, love it. I live for this.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is what we do.
This is what we do. This is what we are.
This is what we are. We're vibrational beings, light beings.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we are.
Yeah. I really want everybody to be able to recognize this within themselves. This is my hope and dream for all of humanity. You know, everybody really sees that you are all light beings.
Oh, absolutely. This is awesome. Well, once again, we love you.
Yes, we do
and
love
we're going higher and higher.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about, the vibration of love, loving ourselves so we can love other people.
Yes, yes. High vibe all the way. Love, 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 love.
La 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 la.
All
right. Man.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye. Love you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah. We're so happy. I love this. I love this lifestyle.
Love it. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. I love it.
Love it.